Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! For context, I was the youngest in my family. My older sister didn't have to work, and while two of my siblings did help my dad at his business after school, it was just for 2 hours Monday to Friday. I was a good student and I got an academic scholarship for all 4 years at my private high school. None of my siblings can say the same, but my parents were firm on their belief that I needed to contribute more to the household despite saving a few thousands of my tuition. I didn't want to work, I wanted to focus on my studies and play sports, but they would let up. My siblings kept bringing me job applications for every fast food restaurant in the area, but I didn't do anything with them. My parents decided they were going to drive me to each one and watch me hand in the application to each restaurant. Cue the malicious compliance. I filled out the applications and they checked to make sure I gave my correct name and phone number. Thankfully, they didn't check the desired wages box towards the bottom. I asked for $75,000 per year. This was in 1986. I didn't get a single call. I still remember that day like it was just yesterday. I was 13 years old and I loved riding my bike. I would often ride around the neighborhood with my friends, exploring new places and enjoy the freedom that came with it. One day, while on a ride with my friends, we came across a woman we will call Karen. She was walking her dog in a bicycle lane, and she refused to move out of the way. I politely asked her to move, but she became increasingly aggressive and confrontational. She said, "This is my lane. You need to go around." Feeling threatened and with no other options, I tried to ride around her, but she blocked my path with her dog. I tried to stay calm and explain to her that the lane is designated for bicyclists, and it's for my safety and hers as well. I also explained to her that the bike lane is clearly marked and visible, but she would not listen. She started to curse and yell at me, using derogatory language. My friends who were with me were also getting worried with the way she was behaving. I knew I needed to get out of there before the situation escalated any further. So I tried to pedal away, but she wouldn't let me pass. She grabbed my handlebars and tried to force me to stop. And in a fit of anger, she pulled out pepper spray and sprayed me directly in the face. The burning sensation and the temporary blindness caused me to lose control of my bike, and I fell to the ground as she just walked away with her dog, laughing. My friends immediately called for my mother, who was nearby, and she rushed over as soon as she heard what happened. She saw me on the ground with my eyes closed and my skin burning, and saw Karen walking away laughing, and she was filled with rage. Without hesitation, she ran towards Karen, ready to confront her. Karen turned around and tried to spray my mother with pepper spray as well, but she dodged it and swung at her, sending her falling to the ground unconscious. As I lay on the ground, my mother called for help and tended to me. The paramedics came and attended to my injuries, which thankfully were not severe but were painful. They cleaned and bandaged my eyes and gave me painkillers to help with the burning sensation. But the incident left my family and I traumatized, and we had to cope with the aftermath of the incident. Karen was arrested by the authorities and charged for her actions. It's been years since that day, but the memory of it still haunts me. I still love riding my bike, but the thought of encountering someone like Karen again makes me a little bit hesitant. I learned that violence is never the answer, and it's important to always try to solve conflicts peacefully. But I also learned that sometimes it's important to stand up for oneself and not let anyone bully or harm you without consequences. The experience also helped me to be more assertive when encountering people who tried to push me around or harm me. This is a story for the record books. It happened hours ago and I'm still trying to process the how and why of it all. I live in a mid-sized city, tourist trap if you will, and I work for my mother's catering business as a pastry chef. I work from home and do not have a uniform or any other job I've had has one. But nothing close to the Wally market this all started out in. While our central air was being fixed up, my mother and I went to sit store in a big shopping center, 9+ stores in a big flipped L shape, with this department of nightmares talking about the third of tip end. I was wearing a white t-shirt with POTW Sidon in a rosy the Riveter bows, black leggings with flip-flops, and I keep earpods in on silent as a please don't talk to me method. I'm in a bakery area looking for some nummies when a nice man asks me what cake I think is good for a little girl. I ask what she likes and such and flip through the catalog, but he ends up picking a pre-made one with me pointing him to the party supply aisles. I pick my own goods and follow my mom to mates. Then baking supplies, then electronics, then diapers, then to get a kiddie pool before I went to the crafts and sewing department. I sew cosplay and I'm making something for my niece's first con. So I'm kneeled by the 99-cent fabrics when I hear the click of heels. My mistake was looking up. I notice a woman maybe a bit older but not close to a decade, 21, wearing short wedge heels and the rest typical early summer attire, including a shirt from the local MPA team that is obviously gift shop. No haircut but sunglasses on her head, and arms already closed and a face that just screamed, "Don't bother with reasoning. Let's call her Tourist Karen." I returned to my search, earphones in and silent, when I felt two skeletal fingers tap loud thuds on my shoulder. "Hello?" Me removing an earbud. "Yes?" "I need water bottles." "Okay." Karen already getting louder. "Stop being lazy and show me where they are." Me catching on. "I don't work here, so no need to yell." "Well, that's nonsense. You helped a man in the bakery just now." Bear in mind that this is over 20 minutes ago, so we were taking our sweet time looking at things in a store. This nut had tracked me down instead of a real freaking employee. So I say what I'm surprised many in this sub haven't. "Miss, being a decent person doesn't mean I work here. It just means I was raised right." "Well, obviously your mother missed teaching you manners." Mom behind her like a ninja in the night. Did I now? This lady jumps like whatever demon had her captive popped up, looking at my mom bug-eyed for all of 2 seconds. She then pointed at me and huffed. "Your daughter was extremely rude to me. She said I was a bad person just for asking for help." Mom, as cool as Antarctica, I was on the next aisle over. "She told you she didn't work here and you yelled at her. And she's an adult, so why are you telling me?" The Karen turned up her nose and stormed off, which we thought was the end of it. After we checked out, she appeared with a manager, screaming and pointing. Manager just looks at her like the crazy person she is, saying the employee that harassed her wasn't even an employee and if she wanted they could get the footage. She groans and just goes for the discount trend, which I wish I could have seen the result of, but we left. Think I'm done? Just the beginning, folks. We go to the store next to the Wally Mart, a chain grocery store, to find what we didn't get in the first store or what we wanted at a cheaper price, coupons, not begging. My mom decided to leave me to my own devices and go to a different store while I picked out things in the freezer section. Right as I'm dumping pizza rolls in my tiny cart, an employee, company logo and massive printout on a black shirt with a blue apron knocks a few boxes of stuff onto the floor. I rushed over and helped him. It looked like he was scared to be seen making a mistake. As I do that, what do I hear but a loud, "Aha!" I turn and I kid you not, I was met with that same displeased face with a worse-looking grin. "I knew I would find where you worked. Now I can tell your manager you were rude and made a mess." "Well, I don't work here either. I'm just helping the poor guy out." "Shut up. I am going to get you fired for being such a witch and making me look stupid." "Well, you did that to yourself, since I don't work anywhere near either place. Just leave me alone, okay?" The guy finished picking up frozen veggies bags. Ma'am, she doesn't work here. I've never seen her.
You can shut it too, or I will have your job as well.
Just then, a manager came down to see what the yelling was for. I think screw the pizza rolls. We just got mac and cheese. And I speed walked down 2 aisles and out of the door. Still, not the end. I guessed my mom would be in the dollar store by then, and lo and behold, she was. Being told I look like I swallowed a bug, I tell her what just went down, and she says to stay close to her in case this mental patient gets loose again. For about 10 minutes it was calm, reading birthday cards for my sister, picking out pool toys for the new pool, and just being carefree. That bubble popped when I heard that very stern, "You!" I look up and there is an out-of-breath red Karen staring at me like the last lamb in a slaughterhouse. That demon that popped out before wouldn't want to go back in. Scared as I was by my mom. So instant mama strength gave me the patience to deal with Karen a 3rd time today. What do you want?
I want you to go up there and explain what happened, or I will get you fired.
Again with this? The employees here wore forest green shirts and khakis, and I wasn't even being helpful, just cuddling a card and some pool noodles. I don't work anywhere in this center or part of town. My boss is right here, pointing to my mom who nods and points to her company shirt she's wearing.
She left me standing in there and…
You followed me into I don't know how many stores and insisted that I work there while I'm wearing a shirt with a shark person and a cart full of items. Leave me alone or I will get the security.
You embarrassed me, so now I'm embarrassing you in front of your co-workers.
Leave me alone. I don't work here. She then picked up some granola bars from the shelf and tossed them at me. She cussed and screamed like a rabid animal, as customers seemed to just look. Fun fact about the dollar store is that security is always there. Shoplifters are rampant in a store where everything is bucking under. This big guy come through and hold her in a bear hug. She's growling and fighting, scratching and trying to bite before he's able to radio for backup. Minute pass and this lady is in cuffs since this shopping center was next to a hospital next to a station. I get to make my statement in front of the onlookers, laughing at the obscenities of the whole thing from the sidelines. They ask if I want to press charges and I say no, simply because she keeps screaming that she's from somewhere out on the East Coast and I'm not going to love going to court with this dream. She ended up getting taken in anyway for calling the police officer a moron and kicking him as he was about uncuffing her. So either way, she's gonna get some good punishment without me having to go to a remote court. She cried as he shut the door and said the one-liner to rule them all. I hope she never visits again. Hey, it's me again. My last post blew up, so I figured I'd post about something that happened a couple days ago. Backstory: I used to work in the automotive section of a Walmart in my city. I have since left and found a job that I enjoy more than I ever did there. Management was nice, co-workers were nice, customers were hell. On this day, I encountered one of them and unleashed a tirade against her. The cast is as follows. There is me, Kathy, the customer, not her real name, some employee I don't know, and Jim, my former manager. Those who read my last post know how cool he is, but also not his real name. So I went to Walmart to get my oil changed, as I've done since I began working there. They have got a fair rate and they are very careful. So I figured I'd drop in, see my old co-workers, do some minor shopping, and get my oil change done at the same time. I was wearing a black shirt, a black and gray flannel, and blue jeans, my usual out-of-work outfit. I was standing there talking to the employee about some meaningless things while waiting on my oil change when Kathy turned up, red-faced and clearly annoyed. She says, "What the heck does that worthless technician want now?" It dawned on me that I recognize her voice, but I can't really place it. The employee then tells her the note that was made for her vehicle. The note? A brake light being on prior to service, which meant that they wouldn't work on her vehicle at all, per store policy. Kathy exploded.
Are you freaking kidding me? I have a trip coming up and I need my freaking tires changed. And this place is the cheapest place to get the freaking tires. Get me your manager. I'm going to have your freaking job and that sleazy dick's job too.
Suddenly, I remembered her. When I worked there, we had a woman come in wanting to get a hole in a tire fixed. I was the one tasked with the job, and upon removing her tire, I noticed rubber sand inside her tire. For those who don't know, that's not a good thing. The tire had clearly been driven on while it was flat. Way too much for it to be safe to drive on any further. When I told her this myself, she had a similar reaction, and Jim was called in and asked what was going on. So I had been blunt. I told her that if she continued to drive on that tire, which also had an indent on the side wall, there was a risk of it exploding while she was driving, which could potentially lead to a crash that could injure or kill someone if it wasn't replaced. She bought a new tire that day thanks to my scare tactics, but that's not the story. This is me unleashing my rage on her. I would like to also point out that this woman was a regular in this department. She always asked for cheap oil and then threw a fit when we used the exact oil suggested for her car. She got pissy with us when we told her that our full-service oil change excluded coolant, brake fluid, brake work, and AC things. Told us all we were worthless mechanics that wouldn't get far in life. Things of that nature. Essentially, she killed every one of us inside every time that she came in, which was fairly often, just for the final point to be hit every time. The employee reaches for the phone and I wave him off, making him blink. Sorry bud, I used to work here, and I went to school for this thing. Kathy says,
I don't freaking care. My brakes squeal a little. So what?
It's at this point I hear her car being backed out. The squeal from her brakes was loud even with the door being closed. I take a deep breath. Okay, so you need new brake pads and more than likely a simple top-off of brake fluid to deal with the light. However, that's not the point. You're berating someone who had nothing to do with this entire freaking mess, all because you're dealing with an inconvenience that your stupid self could have prevented. He won't tell you how he feels, nor will the techs out there who do their best every single day to make sure people's cars are working so that they are freaking safe when they drive. But me? I don't care anymore and will gladly tell you how I feel. When I was here when you'd come in, we all hated you. You tore us down while all we did was our freaking jobs. While we worked hard to keep people safe on the bad roads in this dumpster fire of a freaking town. And you have the gall to whine about something that is your fault? These guys work hard because they love what they do. Not because they are going to sit there and please every clown who decides they have nothing better to do than break them down every freaking time they have a bad day. If you want a freaking manager, go find one, because I know so well they are all sick and tired of your nonsense, and I'm pretty sure that after harassing the guys that work here, they would tell you never to freaking return. You stupid, entitled witch. Well, this is a simplified version. I chewed her out for a good 5 minutes, and I used some more creative expressions just because I was sick of her nonsense. While this was going on, Jim was coming down because his own vehicle was being worked on, and he was checking it. He says, "Whoa, OP, calm down man. Last time you yelled at someone, I took a punch. What's going on?" His voice trailed off as he saw Kathy, which made him actually frown and scowl. We banned you after you shattered the customer's window during your last visit. Employee, call the police. OP, would you mind blocking that door?" He pointed to the employee's only door, and I nodded. Kathy was arrested for trespassing as they would put a restraining order on her, and I felt the mood in the shop change as soon as they saw her being escorted out, at which point I waved to a few of my old co-workers
paid for my oil change and my items and walked out, watching Kathy resisting arrest and being tased all the way. My boyfriend and I have lived with our roommate, my boyfriend's friend, for 2 years. Obviously, since we're friends, we hardly have issues and things go smoothly. Last month, my roommate said that after our lease, he'd be moving in with his girlfriend. We're very happy for him, but he can't cook very well and surprisingly, she's worse. This hasn't been a problem. Usually we do the cooking and he will eat with us or order out. I think he realized that in a few months he will be doing the cooking at his new place and decided to try to learn. His cooking is slowly improving, but he's only using his bands so he can practice. Problem is, he only owns 2 stainless steel saucepans and his most cooked food is scrambled eggs. Typically, we don't make us think about doing each other dishes as long as it's only a pan here or there. Until I went to wash his egg pan with 16 layers of crusted scrambled egg on the bottom. I asked him to please use our non-stick pan for eggs, and he said he can't cook for himself at his new apartment with our pans and that he would just clean the stainless one. Music to my ears. So this morning I did the dishes from our breakfast except for his egg pan. He came back home, saw the pan, and started cleaning it. It took at least 20 minutes to clean, followed by asking my boyfriend for recommendations on the best type of non-stick pans to buy.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.